Surfrider Foundation was created to protect and preserve the world's oceans, waves, and beaches through a powerful activist network. We were formed because of the ongoing threats to coasts all over the world. Those threats include water quality issues, beach access challenges, modern problems such as plastic pollution, as well as things like coastal infrastructure. Our approach is a decentralized structure. Like a modern organization such as Wikipedia, we harness hundreds of thousands of people from all over the world to fight to preserve the coasts. Our grassroots chapters focus their campaigns and outreach efforts on the coastal zone. You can think of that as where the land meets the sea. They work on things like beach access, coastal preservation, water quality testing, and protecting special places. We embody the think global, act local mindset. Our current strategic plan will take us through 2013. Our vision is as simple and straightforward as the picture in your mind when you think of a beach. In our mind, that translates into two words: healthy coasts. We will yield the largest impact towards that vision by helping people connect and participate in coastal conservation efforts. For us, that means reaching out to millions, engaging hundreds of thousands, connecting with tens of thousands, and using a leadership level of thousands to support that. An example of the millions is being on Jack Johnson's last 2 global tours on 5 continents, literally connecting with millions. An example of connecting with hundreds of thousands is having a massive presence on Facebook and Twitter, where we literally engage tens of thousands of people every month. We're not talking about friends, we're talking about engagements. And feeding those into a real chapter structure where we engage tens of thousands of people actually showing up to local meetings, dealing with local issues. And we support that entire thing with a leadership level of thousands of activist leaders. The Surfrider Foundation is one of the world's largest nonprofit organizations dedicated to the protection of coastlines. Surfrider Foundation members are powerful spokespeople and caretakers of the ocean environment. Our diverse network of more than 250,000 supporters, activists, and members worldwide include ocean enthusiasts from all walks of life. Together with our network of 100 chapters and global staff, the Surfrider Foundation dedicates countless hours to raising awareness about threats facing our beach today. An example of this is securing more than 20 bag ban victories throughout the United States and leveraging that up into statewide fights. We're focused on the region where the land meets the sea. We don't deal with issues inland from coastal communities, and we also don't deal with issues in the middle of the ocean. Our singular core strategy is engaged activism. We know that our value add to coastal preservation comes via our grassroots volunteer network. Next is metrics. We measure not only our results in terms of formal decisions made to protect the coast, which is our definition of a victory, but we also measure the size, breadth, depth, and impact of our coastal conservation army of volunteers. We measure this on a monthly basis at all levels of activism across the entire chapter network. Next is best practices. Since we are a network of chapters and activists, it's important that when one chapter has a breakthrough, we seek to understand it and then share those best practices worldwide. All these things lead to sustainable results. We've come to the conclusion that even though we've secured over 170 victories in the last 5 years, there's no number of victories that's enough. What really matters is having the local guardians to protect coastal areas. Thus, our focus on building and sustaining a grassroots network. The primary metric at Surfrider Foundation is what we call the Action Index. This is where we measure, literally, engagement levels at all levels across the entire chapter network. So we are reaching out to millions of people and connecting with them, bringing them down to the next level of the funnel, where they're connecting with us on things like our website, Facebook, Twitter, e-newsletters, and then we're measuring the engagement levels, not how many friends we have, but what actions they're taking. And we're bringing them down to the next level of engagement, and there's hundreds of thousands of people at that level. And these are people that are showing up to chapter meetings throughout the network. These are people that are doing e-activist things. And then the next level down is really the core of Surfrider, and these are tens of thousands of people that are doing the work of campaigns throughout the United States and beyond. And that's supported by a final level of leaders where we're at the 1,000 level mark. And so it's a funnel of engagement, and we're measuring action and engagement throughout the entire funnel across the network. The next metric at Surfrider Foundation is coastal victories. So in our last plan, we had a goal of having 150 coastal victories by 2010. With this current plan, we've decided to increase that number at 10% per year. So we're literally having a cadence of coastal victories every year, and we're increasing that cadence year after year because of our ability to manage the engagement. Some of our victories to highlight include the establishment of Marine Reserve at Tres Palmas in Puerto Rico, overturning a longtime surfing ban in the city of Chicago, securing regulations and commitments from local municipalities to enhance water quality at Nye Beach in Oregon, and the establishment of a fee on single-use plastics in Washington, D.C. Another victory was at Trestles, where we had thousands of people show up to preserve the wave at Trestles in Southern California within one of the larger California state parks. The biggest misconception of Surfrider Foundation is that you need to be a surfer to be a member. This is absolutely not true. Our members are ocean lovers. They surf, stand-up paddle, bodyboard, kayak, swim, and just enjoy the beach. Everyone has value to offer. An example of this is 7-year-old Mackenzie Steiner. Her mom called me and informed me that she was literally learning to write and handwriting invitations to her friends for a beach cleanup. I shared her story with President Clinton, who literally wrote in his last book, "From Bill Gates to Mackenzie Steiner, everyone has something to offer." One thing that all of our members, supporters, and activists have in common is their shared love for the oceans, waves, and beaches, and their passion to protect them for future generations. More than any statistic, the single largest accomplishment of Surfrider is building a formidable force as seen in our grassroots network spanning the world. Here are some numbers that characterize what that volunteer network has accomplished in the last 12 months alone. We've tested nearshore water quality over 9,300 times. If water quality test does not read acceptable, the chapter works with officials to find a source of the pollution and come up with solutions to fix the problem and improve the quality of water. We've implemented nearly 250 outreach campaigns that involve community and coastal issues. We've presented coastal education programs, including our award-winning curriculum, Respect the Beach, nearly 800 times to thousands of school-aged children. We've coordinated over 2,000 cleanups in the United States, and we've organized public attendance at 250 meetings and events where local, state, or federal government decision-makers discussed or made coastal policy. And we've donated volunteer hours valued at over $2.8 million, all of which applies directly to our beaches. One challenge is uninformed citizenry. Most people have no problem accessing their favorite beach, and once they get there, the sand generally appears to be clean and plentiful, and the water looks clean and blue. But this is not always the case, and we must constantly remind people of what they're in jeopardy of losing. Another issue is apathy. This is why we seek non-traditional approaches such as partnering with Jack Johnson across the globe. Nearly 100% of the time we are fighting man-made issues. And as an advocacy group, there are two sides to every issue we confront. So we have a vulnerability to winding up on what some people might view as the opposite side of an issue. Another is the mistaken belief that Surfrider Foundation is only for surfers. Surfrider Foundation exists for everyone who loves the beach and all our coasts have to offer. Increased support for our grassroots chapters. Since the majority of our work is carried out by volunteers who have their own jobs, families, and lives, we must constantly strive to improve the tools and services and support we offer them. This includes everything from technology infrastructure to regional field coordinators. Another area is with our youth network. This is a new endeavor for Surfrider and one that has the potential for dramatic and exponential growth. Additional resources would allow us to effectively structure and manage this growth. Lastly, to invest in amplifying and accelerating best practices sharing throughout the volunteer network. We strive each day to avoid mission creep and stick to our core competency of grassroots activism for the protection of oceans, waves, and beaches. We don't want to veer from that focus. But Surfrider could better serve as a link between youth and environmentalism and/or philanthropy. We recently launched high school and college clubs and immediately had 33 clubs organically form. This is a crucial area for us to invest in and nurture so that it moves from a gap to a core competency. Lastly, to be a larger voice of protection for our coasts, every coastal town should be full of residents that not only love the area they live in, but are actively engaged to protect it.